game of the first day of the ILG LCL. This is going to be a match between Oblique Gaming and Nexus Destroyers. Both teams have had Oblique Gaming has actually had a fairly long day, playing almost 3 straight games back to back, almost at least. And Nexus Destroyers playing their first game of the tournament right now. And we do see the bans coming in from OG, which is going to be Ramus, Zinzao, and Oriana. And on the side of Nexus Destroyers, it's going to be Morgana, Irelia, and Jarvan the Fourth. Co-casting along with me is Loki. And how are you doing, man?
Yeah, what's up, man? I'm doing good. Can't wait to get into this game. This game's going to be a really fun game, so I guess we'll start off with the bans. We obviously see the Ramus ban because the other guy's IGN is best Ramus SCA, so...
Yeah, why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, so suspecting that he is a Ramus main, I guess they'd ban that. Zinzao, because Devil God Dante likes to play that, and Oriana just for like a, you know, one of those general bans. And yeah. So over on the purple team, we do see a Morgana ban. Morgana being one of those, you know, really irritating supports in bot lane with that spell shield and snare. He just brings a lot to a support, don't you think?
Yes, indeed he does. And well, in her current state, she'll always kind of remain like this unless they magically reduce the timing of the CC duration of her Q. Like that would, for me, in the near future, that is literally what would only be the one thing that could probably break her and not let her support anymore. But yeah, Morgana is in a really healthy position right now.
Yeah, and especially her spell shield. I mean, that blocks a lot of CC bot lane and allows AD carries to just, you know, doesn't screw up with their attack speed.
It's almost unnerving because when she came out, people were playing on mid. People kept thinking that she was a mid lane mage and would never really look at her as this utility support kind of pick. They always thought that she was a mid mage who could just tank up lots of magic damage, lots and lots of magic damage. But yeah, in its way. But yeah, when she did come up as a support, she's shining brighter than ever. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember the olden days, the Morgana versus Zed matchups we used to see.
Oh yes, absolutely. Nobody could do anything. Like, the Morgana would probably like push lane as hard as possible, and then yeah, it comes out to how good the Morgana would be anyway. Anyway, forget about it. She's being banned. That's all we need to ever bother about.
Yeah. So and then we do see the Irelia main. I mean, OG. I think Distinct plays a really good Irelia top, and also the Jarvan ban for you know, he also likes playing Jarvan. Kind of a general ban, and you know, kind of a main ban.
The Irelia pick is more towards Icon than Distinct because Distinct is jungling this game, as we see. But yeah, Icon I think he's pretty much played Renekton all 3 games, like including this one. He has pretty much only played Renekton today, so you can expect him to be in top-notch form for playing Renekton perfectly. And okay, the Zed being covered.
But we see a Zed versus Ahri here.
It is popular. His Zed is fairly popular. And yeah, what do you think of? Okay, well, we forgot to make the biggest observation here. Frost picking Nami.
Yeah, I mean Frost on Nami, brutality on Vayne. These guys are on their mains. These guys, they make these lanes work. They're one of the best AD carries and best supports in this country. They main both of these champions. Vayne, a very high-skilled champion, and Nami, just an excellent support overall. So the bot lane is going to be very interesting to watch, to see how he plays the Vayne, how he plays it in accordance with the new item builds and the new buffs and nerfs we've seen with the AD carries. So this should be really interesting to see against a Janna and Graves lane, so yeah. That's
what I was thinking, because given the very durability of a Graves Janna lane, given the fact that you have a tanky Graves sitting right in front, and there is the one thing that pretty much rocked the world of AD carries when Vayne was seemingly nerfed in Season 4, as opposed to how powerful she was back in Season 3. Everybody kept calling her as a weak laner ever since Season 4 started, and then you begin to see Graves Janna lanes, and slowly other carries begin shining. It started with Tristana, and then so many other things kind of settled, and Vayne just kind of I wouldn't say fell. She was still around. It's not that she wasn't played at all, but she just wasn't looked in the same way as she was back in Season 3. So every time I watch Brutality play Vayne, I keep thinking that, okay, maybe it's not really happening anymore. Maybe Vayne really is as powerful as she always was way back in Season 3.
Yeah,
maybe just one single contender would not have affected her much at all. So that's the level at which Brutality plays Vayne.
Yeah, Vayne is a very mechanical champion in general, as a laning phase, team fight phase, and just if you can just if you're like good with those mechanics, then you can play a Vayne. It's really
like people just prove you wrong by playing Vayne the way that Brutality does
Vayne,
play.
Vayne is not like isn't like how you play a Lucian or Caitlyn. You can't just walk in front of the enemy and Q them or auto attack them or something like that. You have to know when to attack, when to CS. I mean, she is very weak in lane. She does not have the amount of range or burst in the early levels as Graves will have, but that's why there's a Nami to heal and provide the mobility and utility.
Yeah, they are, and this particular combination is very known to play Vayne Nami. Like, it's one of their
it's a really
biggest,
good lane.
most
Vayne
go-to
Nami,
lanes.
Vayne Lulu, Vayne Zyra.
It's their absolute go-to lane. No, forget just the team comp. Just as a bot lane, as
a
Brutality
lane,
and Frost, they were fairly well known for playing a lot of Vayne Nami. As and when the opportunity arose, as and when they faced a team that would not know back and forth about them, and would probably have not researched bans. Well, nobody does that in that high level of play. But yeah, I'm not judging. Anyway, so we do see a Vi jungle as opposed to a Pantheon jungle. So what do you feel about Pantheon jungle, given that there's patch 4.21 and not the patch 4.20 where you could just farm up to a point and just solo dragon?
Yeah,
and
so you can't solo dragon anymore.
8% more AD and AP.
Yeah, so you can't solo dragon anymore on the new patch. Even though you can't solo dragon, Pantheon is still a fairly strong jungler. I mean, he brings a lot of damage to the early game. He can also clear jungle camps pretty decently, I'd say. Yeah, he's a very early game jungler, and if we
early game centric jungler.
Yeah, and if you just see the comp in general, I mean, really the comp doesn't really want to make any too early plays and all. Like, they want to wait till they get level 6. So like Brutality can ult, Frost can ult, Distinct can ult in, and they need that level 6 spike.
Their comp practically is spelling lockdown right now. Because you have an Ahri Charm, you have a Nami Q, you have a Pantheon Stun. So they're basically going for heavy single target damage. While if you look at Nexus Destroyer's side, they had a Vi, and they had a Zed, and... Oh, sorry,
they have a Yasuo, actually.
Yasuo, right.
Yeah.
They have a Vi, and... Oh, wait, I actually did not notice this well enough earlier, but they have a Heimerdinger top lane.
Oh, yeah,
they have a Heimerdinger top lane.
Whoa.
Okay. So it's not
so interesting in talking about the bot lane trades that we forgot that he's playing Heimerdinger top lane.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not that we've forgotten how Heimerdingers work. We still know how they work. It's just that it's incredibly confusing and incredibly hard to make it work, I'd assume, because Heimerdinger top lanes. Okay, yes, we see them a lot in solo queue because it's solo queue. Not much coordination happens. But in such a level where you have 5 people totally coordinating with each other, communicating, looking at calls, looking at what to do next, looking at where do we go and what do we do and who do we kill or who do we focus. And basically anything that goes into a 5's game where you have 5 people talking, communicating amongst each other, would you really make a Heimerdinger work amidst everything else?
I mean, I don't know.
Because, okay, we could probably talk about the lane. How would a Renekton versus Heimerdinger lane go?
Yeah, I that's not really too good for Renekton, because Renekton is like a melee champion. He needs to like get close to an enemy, stun them, Q, get back. He's very good at harassing. But Heimerdinger doesn't even need to be like next to Renekton or he...
Compare skill sets. You have Renekton, he has a convenient 2-step dash. So...
you could probably say that while he has enemy minions, he probably has a chance to go after the Heimerdinger. So
even if he does go after the Heimerdinger, I mean the turrets. Once Heimerdinger gets a few, I think the turrets also do good early game damage.
They do a laser.
Yeah, so even if Renekton wanted to trade with the Heimerdinger, it's gonna be probably a fairly even trade, or Heimerdinger could come out on top unless Icon can just goes full in on level 6. But you know, I guess Heimerdinger is just gonna deny a lot of farm for Renekton, I guess. And talking about the comps and comps specifically. Uji reminds me of like a Season 3 comp when it was all about Shyvana and Renekton top lane.
That went ridiculously well for Nexus Destroyers. OG went for the standard invade where they would just run right in and just find spots to just go into the enemy jungle and kind of surprise them at one of their buffs. But Nexus Destroyers actually did fan out decently well. I mean, sure, Devil God Dante was a little slow in his beat to try and ward up the top lane, but OG weren't going top lane anyway, and they were actually quick to spot OG and where each and every single member was, that OG gave up. Looks like they've successfully countered their invade. It's just that there was no fight that happened.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They actually figured out a proper defensive opening and they made it work. This is actually very, very kind of a good sign. Shows that they are actually with a plan. It's not that they just in this to like probably play the game as most new teams would be seen, because they are a new team. They are all a team of free agents being put together. They haven't really stuck as long as a team as OG did. So it'll be interesting to see what they would come up with as a team.
Yeah, so both junglers starting their standard Grump and Golems, and hopefully we'll go to their red and blue respectively.
And immediately the aggression kicks in from
if you do see the top lane by a little bit, you could see that Heimerdinger already has 3 of his turrets down already.
Yes, indeed. But there's also the other fact that Renekton is resourceless while Heimerdinger does run on mana. So if he plays this right enough, if he kind of kills, if Renekton kind of manages to get that close to turrets and manages to kill them and ends up spending Heimer's mana, that could turn out to be a winning lane for the Renekton in its own way. But again, the fact that this is a melee versus ranged makes it highly opportunistic. So that's kind of my take on how the lane goes. What do you think about mid lane, the Ahri versus Yasuo?
Oh yeah, but as we all know, Yasuo has been nerfed a lot recently. He's not really played much in the LCS as we used to see him. But, you know, it's not like we're going to count him out completely. He's still a good champion to play if you know how to play him. But, yeah. So,
yes, indeed.
One of the main things about the Yasuo lane is you're good at like the early level 1s and level 2s and stuff, but then after that you just need to farm up for your Shiv. Like, you really cannot single-handedly kill a it's really hard for you to just like get a single-handed kill in a lane without your static Shiv, because once you get your Shiv on Yasuo, it's a really huge power start.
Distinct making a move on top. Will this actually be a successful gank up top though? We do see the stun going on. They perfectly chain their CC, and that will be a first blood. Pretty easy. An effortless step into lane, and they perfectly stacked their CC, so Devil God Dante couldn't even flash out.
Yeah, even the turrets. Yeah.
Perfectly coordinated. Wow,
hey Barn, what time are you on?
4:12. Why?
Oh, I'm on 4:06, 4:07, 4:08.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll just analyze everything, I guess, when I tell you to.
Okay.
Anyway, just leave the observations to me, man. It's fine. We're behind on time.
Alrighty.
So we do see Dane's going fairly standard. Deathsword did manage to get 1 knockup, so that's like kind of he won that particular moment of fighting against the Ahri. But yeah, for now that was a rather effortless first blood from Distinct and Icon in that kill onto the Heimerdinger. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't even have to blow summoners for that, because literally they won that by not CC stacking. And if you guys are unsure about what CC stacking is, it's basically putting all of your CC onto one target at the same time, which really doesn't amount to anything. So they sequentially wait for each other
and coordinate as to who puts what first. And these guys just managed to do that perfectly, and they ended up not even wasting the flash. And right now, best now is SEA with the revenge gank, I guess, onto this thing. And oh my god, that was a rather bad miss, if I do say so myself. And I can just stun and go out. Wow. Okay, well, it's kind of too obvious if I just say that the Vi should not miss her Q while going into a lane, but what do you think, man, Loki?
Yeah, I know, Vi's main gank potential is that Q. I mean, if you don't really land that Q, there's nothing that she has to offer. I mean, maybe if you have mobility boots or something to get up, you can probably slow with the red buff, but the main ganking potential with Vi is the Q.
Yeah.
Like, if you miss the Q, then you can probably just walk away. It'd be better to just walk away.
Oh my god, another gank coming up from Distinct, and he has nowhere to go. And Distinct waits out the flash before actually laying down his CC. Good game sense to do that, but he still has to flash away because he did manage to get that. Oh my god, I keep forgetting what that ability of Heimerdinger's is. Sorry, I'm pretty illiterate sometimes. I just keep forgetting things. Anyway.
That's alright.
And mid lane so far has been fairly passive, but
Deadsaw has such a huge CS lead, 47 to 25 actually, against the Ari, so...
Yeah, we should know that Mechanics is not playing in this tournament. Their OG is currently using one of their substitutes, so...
Yeah. And oh my god, we do see it going down at mid lane. A good 3-man Q will actually do a lot, and I can, oh my god, I actually didn't even notice this. I can actually manage to teleport and easily get 2 kills. Their whole bot lane just killed right there. How?
Yeah, that was just very bad on Nexus Destroyer's part, because they just played too aggro, and with the disengage of Nami...
and another teleport this time from the Heimerdinger. How will this change things? I don't really see how this will change things. They'll just farm so easily, and oh my god, the overstep from the Vi will cost her her life. She just completely ignored brutality, and you never ignore brutality. You always look at brutality, and you always deal with the brutality before going with the rest. Or at least that's how
look
it
at the
made it
CS
seem.
difference in bot lane at the moment. 50 CS to 15 CS.
Yeah.
You're talking about the CS difference in mid, but I think the bot lane makes up for it.
Like, I don't even... Basically, they just played out the perfect, fairly aggressive, fairly sustainable lane that they wanted to. So far, for them, things have kind of gone according to plan. And yes, it's just fairly spelled disaster, but unless Deadsaw managed to make things happen with probably a roam or anything. And look at Distinct, he's just so aggressive. He just does not want to give the enemy jungler any quarters to go in mid lane, and he does not want the mid laners having a happy time. And while it looks like he's caught, he'll actually turn this around, and this really just steps right in, prevents Vi from being able to flash over the wall, and that's a comfortable double kill. Again, these people just have the game sense to completely foresee what enemies do, and that's why you're seeing... That's why you see them at that high level. That's why you see them pretty much winning all the time against literally 99% of the teams they face. It's because they just combine what they already know of the game and just put it together and just make it happen. With Frost at the helm of it and just the rest of the team just following through on everything that he creates.
Yep, that's why OG is one of the best, or the best team in India at the moment. All of them have very good synergy. They adapt and play each other's playstyle, and they're just a very good team.
They've stuck around. They've literally just stuck around for the longest, and their experience is basically showing in the individual plays that they're making. They're just making sure that not only are they strong individually, but as a team, they know what it takes to be done. And
yeah, like even though Distinct doesn't main the jungle anymore, they still can synergize when Distinct used to play the jungle back in the day, and even in the a tournament, I think a famous game from another tournament where it was a pessimistic champ versus Brutality.
Yes.
Brutality did not have Frost. Distinct as support. He was still able to win that lane. I mean, that just shows you how good this team is.
Yeah, they're not individually and all that. And look at Distinct CS. He has 19 CS to Vice 26. He has completely ignored farming the jungle and solely focused his energies on either ganking or invading and trying to give the Vi a hard time. He is just making full use, and oh my god, we see another on a beautiful, beautiful double bubble coming in from Frost, and that will set him up. And right now, Brutality is 5-0 in 1, 10 minutes in, and they're well on their way to steamroll bot lane. Like seriously, bot lane needs serious help. Probably the help of not just one best Ram SSA, but also the help of another Death Saw.
It's just
and oh my god, we see another gang coming up to top lane, and this might pretty much seal the deal for Icon. Really. And this is what we mean. This is what Distinct is going for. He's just going for solely for ganks and barely going into the jungle and farming camps. It's like he's fully trusting his team to follow up on most of the ganks that he would do. And he's just riding on that particular trust in his teammates in order to make this happen. Like you wouldn't ever see this in solo queue, mind you. This is something you see only in team environments. A Pantheon just leaving. They're just completely only ganking and counter jungling. Because he just knows that, okay, fine, if I do this, then he'll back me up. If I do this, then they'll back me up. And they actually do. And it has worked out so well for them in the past that it's why they're so ahead. It's why he continues to do it, I guess.
OG Brutality with the Blade the Rune King at 11 minutes into the game and just wrecking this bot lane since the minute they've got into the lane. The only lane from OG that's not doing too well is their mid lane, but their mid lane is just losing in farm. I mean, he's not giving up 1,000 kills to his opponent.
And he's actually done well to survive the Yasuo up till now, because it's kind of mentally pressuring when you see an evasive Yasuo and you're playing a skill shot champ like Ahri. It's kind of inconvenient in its own regard, but he's actually done well to kind of stay in there and stick in there despite having a CS disadvantage. Like technically, yes, Yasuo is pretty much a kill ahead of Ahri gold-wise, but he hasn't made this count with the right amount of roams. And right now, I'm not quite sure what he's planning on further into this laning phase. And oh my god, we do see, will he be able to actually get away with this? No, that will actually be an upgraded. Wow, that will be an upgraded Electron Storm Grenade. Right, now I finally got it, guys. It's Electron Storm Grenade from Heimerdinger. I keep forgetting what that ability is called, but now I do. So, they finally managed to take down Icon, but it's at the cost of a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, so far we've had so many games. We've just had so many. We have had a lot of games today, and you see, yeah,
they don't seem to let up as well. Normally, the general mental pressure, teams would generally be extremely tired and would actually fall back and rather stop playing aggressively, or just lay a little further back and play things a little easier than they would in the first few matches, simply due to mental pressure. But this shows how much experience they have as a team as well. They just have what it takes. They just have the tenacity to go as far as possible. And oh my god, Brutality. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw Brutality miss that one auto attack on this thing and go for CS at all. All that we saw was Brutality being Brutality. Guys, please. Nobody saw him take CS. Nobody saw him CS. It's okay.
Brutality coming up big here, making the plays, making everything happen.
He just goes right back, and best time is SEA is so confused and is completely puzzled as to why Nikhil SK is this aggressive. They're probably just scratching their heads right now, and I know this probably might not be one of the things I'm supposed to say, but that is one of the feelings that teams get against OG. It's just, you get so clueless as to why they're this effective, and then you think back and go, oh my god, it's because they're this effective that they're actually laying down so much pressure on us. And what will happen, what will ensue from this is that there will be a huge amount of walls placed in their own jungle, and Distinct will pretty much be there wherever Best Travis SEA is, and deny him access to his own creeps, to his own, let alone not even just buffs, to his own jungle as a whole. And this is basically, and he'll basically be supported by either the Icon if it's in their red side, or their bot lane if it's in the blue side. And that will be another very comfortable gank counter Distinct. Right now, this is just, they're making this look easy.
I really hate to say it, but they're making this look so easy on this other team right now. Even though they actually have some really good players, and it has nothing to do with individual skill. They just beating them with pure team play and pure strategy, really.
Yeah, I mean that's why they are the favorites in this tournament.
Yes,
I would
indeed.
also like to point out, as a Vayne player alone, that what Exiled Prodigy really does, and not me or many people
Oh my god,
is...
that was a brilliant Aqua Prison. Why? Oh my god, I don't know if that was just bad timing on the Janna's Monsoon, but I would generally, like, I'm sure if I were the Janna, I would definitely just Monsoon right there, but I would not expect Nami to just Aqua Prison me right off the bat like that. And right now, Distinct and I can literally being like two-man armies and trying to give as hard a time as possible, and oh my god, he is completely taken out.
Indeed, OG is just...
No, he won't.
OG is just so up right now in gold and just kills is that they can just do whatever they want right now.
Oh my god, the Hextech Micro Rocket, upgraded Hextech Micro Rocket's missing. We should have actually killed, I'm damn sure it would have pretty much killed Brutality if he had managed to follow it up with just one more ability after that, but he completely misses it, and that just ensures the survivability. Right there. But who am I kidding? They actually had someone to heal, and Frost was always there, so...
As long as Frost is there, your carry is not dying.
Who am I to judge, yeah. He had someone to heal the whole time as well, so who am I fooling, I guess? And that's I'm really not sure what he's up to. He's 2 deaths down from a very good CS advantage against the mid laner, and he just wasn't able to make ends meet with decent roams. In fact, he wasn't even roaming at all. He just chose to pressure lane, and he probably expected early kills onto the Ahri, which just did not kind of end up working for him, I guess.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to point out is that Red Team is not playing bad. Like, okay, they're a little bit inexperienced and stuff, but Redimar and Detso and all, they aren't really bad players. They're just against one of the top teams
They're
in
kind
India.
of unsure on what to do, because that's how much pressure OG have been doing. It's basically, okay, I know I've probably said the word pressure for like the 200th time today, but that just spells what OG is planned. Like that's how OG play. They apply pressure on jungles so hard that your own jungler is just not allowed to go in anymore. And
yeah,
oh my god, that will be
is always
finally this thing going down. His over-aggression finally working out against him, and Redimar managing to get that one.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Redimar though. Even though he knows that he's like down 3 kills, down CS, he actually flashed in there and ulted there. That was just good play by Redimar.
Yes, indeed. He just saw... They continue to see that. They're trying to stay alive. They're trying to stay alive in spirit and try to not lose their spirit, but right now they're really... It's hard to see what they would do to come back and actually recover from their loss in the early game, because for starters, they're against a 12-0-1 AD carry 18 minutes into the game. That itself would pretty much spell nightmare. That is enough to pretty much tell you that, wow, okay, this is definitely not going well.
Indeed it is.
And right now Frost going over Death Saw, pretty much they basically trying to apply the final nail in the coffin. Like, I'm not sure what you need. Like the only thing pretty much that I can say for Nexus Destroyers to do right now is to recover vision and hopefully pray that OG misposition somehow, and basically one person starts moving out of place and out of rhythm with the enemy team, or just kind of wanders off on his own. They probably can make something happen, but then again, it's every move that OG makes, every pick that Nexus Destroyer gets, they make sure that there is some kind of drawback to their decision to go after Riken. Like we saw on that first time, when Best Damage SCA went and came top lane onto Devil God Dante after Riken had overextended and they got a kill on him. Iken bided for time long enough to tell his whole team that yes, they're on to me and now you can go take a dragon. So even if they do die, they ensure that their losses are minimized, which is not something you see in most other teams in this tournament.
Yeah.
You wouldn't ever see the system of minimizing losses.
Exactly. I mean, top lane
most other
dies.
places. And oh my god, they finally see the all-in, the much-fated fight that Deadstar really needs. And this is something he really needs, but no. Distinct comes in and that will be a stun. And an immediate kill for Distinct. Timing ganks. He's really showcasing Pantheon's global presence and his ability to just pressure any lane at any point. And completely making them insecure. And right now, best time is just kind of giving up. He just doesn't know what to do anymore. He just goes there, spamming his recall, showing off Neon Strike by. And finally, we see the 2v3 going on in bot lane. How will they deal with this one? Brutality kiting back, kind of all-ending, and actually deleting Best Time as SEA with that. And that will be a second kill onto Jana. And oh, never mind. Icon got the first kill onto the Vi, my god. It's still a double kill working in their favor, and OG are trying to end this as much as possible, but
yeah, when we saw that bot lane exchange, like
yes, indeed.
Yeah, it just shows how mechanically well they are with their champions. I mean, Frost, he ultied right on the exact time Best Rammus came in with his Vi's ulti. He countered Vi's ulti exactly on time, and that just shows you how much they know their champions and how mechanically good they are with their champions.
Yes, indeed. We see them literally just taking the enemy team for a ride. Brutality alone might probably be enough to give them hell right now. They don't even need the rest of their team.
Look at how much damage. Vayne is like... Vayne with these items and this amount of time at the game.
This early into the game, a 14-0-2 Vayne is just unimaginable. You wouldn't know what to deal against
the amount of damage. And also to notice that Red Team does not have a tank.
Yeah, that was the other thing that I'm kind of thinking. I was probably thinking that Vi would probably go tanky, but to go tanky, you need successful ganks. And when you cannot successfully gank, you'll need to kind of... You will suffer. You will suffer to the way a team just slowly pressures you and zones you out of your own jungle. When that happens, you know something is seriously wrong. You know that something went horribly wrong in the early game that's causing them to do this. And it's shown right here. You saw how easily this thing just went right into tower range, willingly jumped into the Heimerdinger and flashed away. He's just not scared. He's just willing to give up his own life and his own bloody mana and all of his jungling camps for the sake of the team and just gets them ahead. They're literally playing, the junglers of OG literally play this particular style where they don't really farm. They never lay back and farm. They go right on to your jungle and pretty much spend all of their time zoning you out of your own jungle. They'll be like, okay, fine. I am not going to jungle take my own camps, but rather I'd rather you not take yours. And this will be the end of the game, and there we have it. OG with another absolutely crushing victory.
I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely crushing victory against this thing. Right, well, I don't even know why I'm so speechless right now. It's just, there's really not much to say when you see such a display of skill. You're just kind of watching. You can literally just watch as a team just helplessly fall onto the hands of such a team and such individually good players. So with that, this is Raj signing off, and along with Loki, and see you tomorrow.
Night, guys.